So, you probably already, know what crutch words are and, well, how they can undermine your communication and stuff, right? If that makes sense. It's not uncommon to feel a little flustered when speaking. It's not uncommon to feel distracted, unprepared, or unfocused. After all, the communication we're talking about is everyday communication, not carefully crafted speeches and presentations. Natural speech is often a little disjointed, loose, and open-ended. Crutch words, or filler words, can act like necessary padding or pauses to help us catch our breath, collect our thoughts, and process the next thing we want to say. The trouble is when this kind of fluff language takes over and starts detracting from the overall message. A crutch word helps prop you up, but it can make you harder to understand, hurt your credibility, and distract from what you're saying. So much of what we say is socially and culturally coded, and filler words can come with an enormous set of assumptions, insinuations, and prejudices. Words like, well, like, so, right, okay, and, can be like little speed bumps that interrupt the flow of your message. It's easy to see why. If you're talking to someone who's showing you that every third or fourth word they use essentially has no meaning, are you likely to pay more or less attention to what they say? The irony is that in using crutch words to fill an awkward silence, we end up diluting our message and making it less likely that people pay attention to all those other non-crutch words. More than this, using crutch words can actively annoy people and signal a subtle lack of conversational awareness and etiquette. Consider that when you open your mouth, you are taking the floor, even if it's in a very casual and free-form setting. You're holding the mic, so to speak. If people get the sense that you're hogging this position without really saying anything, they're likely to get annoyed or bored, and they may be tempted to interrupt or just ignore you. Get comfortable with pausing. To get rid of an over-reliance on crutch words, you need to learn to do one thing: embrace silence. Usually, filler words and fluff are there to deal with a mild sense of anxiety, to fill the void, and to keep up feeling of flow when you're not quite sure what you're saying next. But if you actively embrace those natural pauses in speech, you empower yourself to be a more proactive, conscious, and confident speaker. You're not afraid of awkward silences. You are actively using them as one of the many tools you have in your conversational itinerary. If you have a bad crutch word habit, don't worry. This can actually be used to your advantage. By replacing every crutch word with a thoughtful, assured pause, you communicate a few powerful things to your audience. You're confident, either in yourself or in what you have to say. You don't feel that you need to quickly say your piece or rush through what you're saying for fear that you'll be interrupted or ignored. In treating your own message with this kind of attention and respect, you convey to others a belief in its value, and they can't help but do the same. You show consideration for your audience. If someone is blundering and blathering on with very little thought for how clear their message is, or how it may be coming across, they signal a disregard for the other person. All of us need to carefully consider how we present ourselves, and too many filler words can make for a boring and confusing listening experience for an audience. However, if other people get the sense that you're being deliberate about how you speak, you create a frame of mutual respect and consideration, which automatically elevates whatever conversation you're having. It helps you stay calm. A pause is a moment in which you can gather yourself, and it's also a moment for the audience to process and digest what you're sharing. It's the difference between gobbling down a meal without thinking versus savoring each bite and pausing after each mouthful. The breath is connected to our state of anxiety, and if we're talking constantly, we're usually not breathing, and this fuels anxiety. Just stop, take a breath, let the conversation expand a little, and relax. Finally, A pause can actually help you make your point. It's a mistake to think that silence is empty space or some kind of lost opportunity where you could have been speaking instead. A pause has power. Pausing at the right moment can alert your audience to the fact that you're about to say something important. It can help you build suspense and then release it. When you pause after something important, it can show the audience that you want them to really think about what you've just said. It gives you time to lean on other nonverbal elements of your communication, such as your eye contact or body language. This can be more effective than just talking and talking. Here's a 2-step exercise you can try to break the crutch word habit and come across with more confidence and clarity. Step 1. Pay attention. Actually listen to how you currently speak. This requires awareness in the moment, but it's even better if you can somehow record yourself during a conversation so you can play it back and see just how often you're relying on crutch words. You may be surprised. Try to notice not only when you're resorting to filler and fluff, but also to how this is impacting the conversation, how people's energy and attention levels are changing, how the conversation is flowing, and how anxious or confident you feel. Recording may be difficult, but you can also gain some insight by filming yourself telling a story. The idea is to get a good snapshot of the role this kind of language is presently playing in your life. Step 2. The next bit is difficult, but becomes easier with practice. Just keep quiet. Force yourself to say nothing instead of using a crutch word. You don't have to speak in a smooth, uninterrupted flow. Just stay quiet if you're not sure what to say. Try to teach yourself that a pause is not a problem. Sure, if you just go silent for longer than 5 or 6 seconds, your listeners may start to wonder. But you may discover you seldom need that long to gather your thoughts and that people are rather tolerant and will wait. Then, repeat step 1 and notice how different it feels to pause instead of and Notice how you feel and how other people respond to you. You may also find that pausing in this way has other related benefits. You speak more slowly, more deliberately, and with more assuredness. You find yourself taking yourself more seriously. This has been How to Speak Effectively, Influence, Engage, and Charm, written by Patrick King, narrated by Russell Newton. Copyright 2023 by Patrick King. Production copyright by Patrick King.